animals! Invertebrats! You must fight back against the one who did this to you!
Yar, the half-man, half-gorilla speaks the truth.
Animation has always been a medium that has grown and evolved with time. I mean, think about it. We've gone from shows that only focused on mainly comedy and entertainment to series that tackled much more serious themes and address much more dark subject matter than before. But sadly, with the evolution of any form of media, there's always that one aspect that gets forgotten. And with animation, for the longest time, it's been action cartoons. Series that had intricate plot lines and mainly focused on our hero or heroes battling some force of greater evil. This was plentiful in the early 2000s, but kinda died off at the mid-2010s. But in the current year, have made a bit of a comeback, with series like Rise of the TMNT, She-Ra, and The Owl House, a few personal favorites of mine, adopting the trend of both having serialized stories with sprinklings of meticulously crafted action scenes. Although these series are great and I do love them, there's one that has stood out recently when it comes to this type of storytelling: Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. With this series reaching its conclusion, ending with its 3rd season, I thought I would make a video discussing what makes this series so great. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, YouTubers and subscribers of all ages and everyone in between, welcome to Heroes on Fire, a Kipo retrospective. Season 1 of Kipo is definitely a good start to the series we would all come to know and love. Not just in terms of how the entire thing was executed, but also in how it introduces concepts and characters in an unusual way. I mean, in the first episode alone, we're introduced to our main character not with a normal introduction, but instead with her getting thrusted straight into the surface world, giving the audience a chance to learn about this new world alongside a protagonist. And this, to me at least, is a very welcome change of pace when compared to other shows. The rest of the cast really do speak for themselves as well. Wolf is feisty, tactical, and is always up for a fight. Benson is more laid back, but still aware of his surroundings. Dave is mostly the troublemaker and sometimes muscle of the group, and Mandu is the overprotective mascot. Now that I mentioned it, I noticed many aspects of these characters share a lot of similarities with the cast of another action series, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
But I believe Aang can save the world.
I mean, think about it. We have your main character with unique abilities that always tries to befriend anyone, whether good or bad, the goal-driven character who tries to keep the group on track, the goof-off tactical comedy relief, and even the cute mascot/pets. Of course, I'm not saying that these are bad similarities, just something I've noticed. As well as the main cast, the supporting cast also share an equal amount of importance to the story and world of Kipo. Throughout its first season, we see many different and diverse groups of creatures: timbercats, Newton wolves, Umalot snakes, and so many more, giving each episode they're introduced in a different tone, style, and feel when watching the series. Another thing to note for this season is that for the most part, it has no true antagonist. Yes, we have characters like Scarlemane and Jamak, but they're either introduced later on in the season and only act as catalysts for the story moving forward, or they appear in a random episode in order to give Kipo a moral choice.
Why would you do that?
It's my turn to do some soul searching.
Rather than have a villain, the season prominently features many different obstacles for our heroes to go through, different beasts, landscapes, and beings standing in the character's way, which gives the first season a chance to further explore the main cast, with all the development and drama anyone can enjoy. The main highlight for the season is the development of Kipo's mute powers. They slowly develop over the course of these 10 episodes. We see her powers go from an unnatural source to something she's used to using, but not at her full potential, an aspect that the series would cover later on. The settings, not only in this season, but in Kipo as a whole, are very vibrant. Broken down buildings, highways, and neighborhoods, paired up with the more natural forests and grasslands, give the feeling of the aftermath of a worldwide incident, but has a ton of variety with each location the group visits, with contrasting colors that aren't too hard on the eyes and help make the characters stand out. Overall, while the season isn't as prevalent in overarching story, it's still a fun watch. The voice cast does a great job at conveying the characters, the animation is smooth and expressive, and the setting gives off a real fantasy vibe. A very well put together season, if I do say so myself. Season 2 is pretty much the point for the series' major improvement, with episodes that all connect to form one narrative instead of the previous season. With this season, there's a lot more of a focus on progressing the story and character development forward, including Kipo getting used to her new mutant powers, and the crew fighting a new villain in the form of Scarlet. Speaking of which, let's discuss him for a bit. With Season 1 teasing him at certain moments, it's great to see a more serious threat in the world of Kipo. Even the way he acts, eccentricities and all, make him a very entertaining character to watch on screen. The show even explores why he is the way he is with an origin story episode, showing that he wasn't always this way and actually could have turned out different. In the end, a very compelling villain in my eyes. Most of the series' infamous reveals are kept within this season as well. There are many episodes that tie together, giving us a good explanation for most mysteries that were started back in Season 1, and that knowledge is even shown to help our heroes both throughout the season and moving forward, so that's always a plus in my book. As well as that, we get a lot more info about what Kipo's mutabilities can allow her to do. This exposition, while it did take a long time to get a satisfying payoff, actually is a good conclusion in my opinion, even giving us a few tense moments towards the end of the season, and showing the progress and development of our main character, as well as her struggles in the beginning of her training, making for good storytelling, at least coming from me. In the end, Season 2 is definitely a massive step up from the one previous to it, improving itself in many different aspects, and it only goes up from here. Out of all the seasons in Kipo, Season 3 has to be my personal favorite. At this point in the series, it does seem that the team behind Kipo have everything down when it comes to storytelling, and really gave it their all with each and every episode, and the results definitely show. First, the villain. With Scarlet thwarted in the season prior, Dr. Amelia takes the helm as the series' third and final foe in the series. Probably the biggest threat in the series, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, Scarlet, while threatening, only wanted to take control of humans and have mutes above them. Dr. Amelia goes one step beyond by wanting to take down all of mute kind and cure them all. So for me, she takes the cake. Not only because her plan partially works, but also because she's a lot more manipulative and cunning, making her defeat at the end of the series a lot more satisfying. There's actually a lot to appreciate in the season as a whole, like the fact that there's even development in the show's previous villains such as Jamak and Scarlet, who go from one-note jerks and threatening power-hungry tyrants to actually decent people who aid our hero throughout the season. Honestly, seeing these two manage to redeem themselves is really great to see, since we already saw them at their worst and most vile previously, so it would make sense that they would change after being influenced by such a positive character like Kipo, the only person who ever actually gave them a chance.
They all left.
Not everyone.
You guys are staying?
Every prom needs a king.
Yeah, and, you know, I've already got my suit on, so...
Now I know for most of this review, I haven't really talked about any main plot points or episodes, but I couldn't end it without talking about the series' finale, Age of the Wonder Beasts. After seeing Dr. Amelia get her plans thwarted over and over again, it was a real shock to see her go to her last resort, by finding a way to transform into a mute herself, and actually give our heroes more of a challenge. But only with Scarlet's sacrifice are they victorious, bringing his arc full circle, and seeing the series end with the characters grown up and living their new lives was truly beautiful. It shows that throughout these 3 seasons, these characters went from strangers to friends and even family. So in the end, what is Kipo? Well, after going through all of this, all these episodes and thoughts, I finally figured it out. Kipo is whatever she wants to be. She's a human, she's a mute, she's a problem solver, she's a peacemaker, she's a fighter. Kipo is a Wonder Beast.
My people are out there somewhere. The only question is, where?
So it's time to leave you a preview, so you too can review what we do.